Hi, this is Tim Harris, and we have a special Friday podcast for all of you today. So during the week, Julie and I will often host private events, and this is going to be a replay of an event I did this week for a group of RE/MAX agents up in Canada. And I thought the event went really well based on the feedback of the little group I presented to. They loved it, and I thought you would as well. So please cozy up to your earbuds or your iPhone or wherever you're watching us, maybe on YouTube, and let me know what you think. Again, the podcast today is not our normal show for Friday, but I thought that you would love the motivation that a lot of these agents who attended the live event I did for them seem to really appreciate. So there you go. Have a great day, and let me know what you think.
And so many of them have never sold real estate. Tim actually sold real estate for good old RE/MAX. And how many homes did you guys sell in your first year?
103. This is in our early 20s too, which was, I'm 56 this year, which is crazy to think about. So this was in the 90s, so when we sold 103, this was before the internet, before you could buy buyer leads. Have you been in the business that long by chance?
No, it's 2008 and I'm the...
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, you guys were basically only in the business since Zillow started selling buyer leads and just all these other things that are, I think originally made life easier, but now makes life a lot more complicated. But the reality of it is back then you had to learn how to be a proactive lead generator because there was no real ways to buy leads. And then during our career, well, really our coaching business took off because we sold real estate for about a decade, between 100 and 200 homes a year. We started out by selling first-time home buyer houses, and then we moved up to really the most expensive houses in our market. Turns out that the skill set necessary to sell, first-time home buyer houses works when you're trying to sell more expensive homes as well. It's the exact same skill set. But we had a lot of success selling expensive homes too. And NAR, National Association of Realtors, they did articles and just, I guess what I'm saying is we never set out to draw attention to ourselves other than necessary to sell real estate. Julie and I've never sought any kind of recognition. That's never been our thing. As a matter of fact, Chad, I mean, they're giving us, after 3 years in the business, they're giving the Lifetime Achievement Award at RE/MAX, which I forget what the accomplishment is, $1 million or whatever. And we are getting it after 3 years or whatever. And we didn't even go to the ceremony. And they had a big thing planned for us too, just because it messed with our heads. And we wanted to focus on basically what we were in the business to do, which was sell homes, obviously be of service to other people. And our vision for ourselves was not to be famous, but it was to be rich. Are you guys having the ability to take notes so I can give you some, so we can just jump right into my notes?
Yeah. Let's okay. You just take it wherever you want to go and we'll follow on.
Well, first of all, let's just start out with the definition of rich, because some people have a problem with that definition, or some people have a problem with that word, because there's a lot of social connotations around that word that, if we just be honest with each other, that's not necessarily the shiniest of word to use. So rich is simply where your money works for you and you no longer have to work for your money. That's it. And so if you have a bunch of rental properties or other forms of investment that are producing passive income for yourself, enough to cover your personal overhead, you're by definition of rich. So if your personal overhead is $7,500 a month and you've got passive income of $3,500 or $7,500 a month coming in, you technically are rich. And that truly is the definition. And so all these people that talk about, saving money and investing and buying rental properties and buying stocks and blah, 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 all they're trying to do is accomplish that particular goal of making it so when you wake up in the morning, no matter what the weather is, no matter what the news is, no matter what the politics are, no matter what, country Trump decided he wants to take over today, it just doesn't matter because you have enough money coming in. Is everything good?
Yeah, it cut out on your visual and we still have your voice.
Well, I mean, we are kind of far apart. It's amazing that it's working at all.
Yeah. We'll just, you keep going.
Okay. Well, so the thing that I wanted to focus on with you guys today is basically this is optimism. I'm going to start out by asking a question. It's a mindset question. Oh, I need to say, I have a ton of notes that I prepared. I'm not going to be able to go through all these notes. There's, I don't even know, 10 pages of notes. And I prepared these for you knowing that most of you guys are going to want these notes, even though I can't get through all of them. And here's how you're going to get them. And I'll just tell you right now, just go to Harris Real Estate Daily. It's our free daily newsletter. And just harrisrealestatedaily.com, and you can subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get the notes from the show, but also that day's podcast. And as Chandler said at the beginning, we started our podcast, I don't even know how many years ago, 16 years ago. And it's the #1 daily podcast for real estate agents in North America. So, and that, obviously all of North America, including Canada, you know? So in any event, I want to start up asking you this question. What are the benefits that someone gets from being a pessimist? What is everyone's name, by the way? So I can pick on people who just sit and, okay.
I'm Victoria.
Hey, Victoria, nice to meet you. I like your shoes, by the way.
Oh,
Very
thank you.
Very 1980s.
Chandler,
Angela.
Marcus.
Brittany. Christina. Trina.
Hey, Trina. All right, so I'm going to ask Trina first, okay, and then Marcus. You guys both answer. You can't say the same thing. What's the benefit you have of being a pessimist? And you can't say nothing.
Sometimes the benefit can be to ask yourself deeper questions to prevent negative outcomes.
No, I appreciate that. She's saying basically it causes being a pessimist sometimes will allow you time to basically be introspective about what you're thinking. That's true. But can Marcus build on that? You don't have to say the same thing, but you tell me when you're feeling pessimistic, it's not a trick question. When you're a pessimist, what are the benefits you're getting from being that way? First of all, Marcus, do you want to be a pessimist?
No, I don't.
Okay, right. So, but are you pessimistic about anything right now? It's okay. This is the real estate confessional. You're here with Father Tim.
I know I'm trying not to be, but like when you are pessimistic, I guess, it kind of sets you at a certain level, and then when reality sets in, it's not as bad as what you had thought.
Okay, so let's really deep dive into this. Pessimism is a choice, right? You can be a pessimist or you can be an optimist. And Elon Musk says something which I really love. You guys shall save this. Is that I'd rather be an optimistic than wrong and be wrong, and then a pessimist and be right. Right. So I'd rather be an optimist and be wrong than being a pessimist and being right. So here's the thing: the most screwed up behavior that a human can possibly have, and it does not matter what it is, addiction issues, just all kinds of strange things that humans like to, will oftentimes manifest. They get a benefit from doing them or they wouldn't do them. And I want you to just internalize that for a second. So when you're a pessimist, here's what happens. You don't do the things necessary today to make tomorrow better than today. In other words, you give your excuse. If you think tomorrow's going to be worse than today, if you believe that, whatever's going to cause the housing market to crash, interest rates to be up, buyers unmotivated, sellers are overpriced, lack of inventory, all these things that agents love to, especially now, it's very pessimistic in the real estate industry overall. And Julie and I've been fighting against it for like 2 years because we knew that there was going to be a surge coming, and there is. And hopefully you guys are starting to feel that. But the people that are choosing to be pessimistic, they're getting benefits from it. And the benefits are that they don't have to write this down. They don't have to do what they don't want to do. I'll say it slowly. They don't have to do what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it at the highest level. In other words, they can hide out. They don't have to make that call. They don't have to learn that skill. They don't have to put themselves in a position to feel rejected. They don't have to learn that presentation. They don't have to learn how to thoroughly pre-qualify. So if you're a pessimist, if you believe tomorrow, like if I, for example, I hate working. Who likes working out? Probably Chandler. Weirdo. Who likes working out?
No.
Does anybody like working out? Okay, good. All right. One person. That's all right. Good. What's your workout routine? What do you do?
I do like yoga classes in the heat.
Oh, seriously?
I don't know. Yeah, especially.
That's super hard. Right. So I do kettlebells every morning. And so does Julie. And we've been doing them for a long time. And I never look forward to doing it. But what happens, and you'll agree with this, I would assume, that you start to feel better after do you feel like doing yoga, especially bulk room yoga in the mornings? Do you feel like doing that? Is that something you look forward to?
If it's like really early, it's hard to get there. But
right,
it's
exactly. So stay there. So, but do you notice how after you started doing the yoga, even though you didn't want to do it, you start actually feeling motivated to do it?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? And so that's the same way. So I don't feel like going to the gym ever. And then when I go to the gym, after about 15 or 20 minutes, then I start wanting to be at the gym. But how many of us don't do what we don't want to do when we don't want to do it at the highest level, just because we can't push through the initial pain of doing the activity and get to the point where it gets easy? Can you guys relate? What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You never are in the mood to do it.
Right. And so if you write down right now, I'm going to tell you guys something funny. By the way, I haven't even looked at my notes yet. But if you guys write down, say all the things right now in real estate that you don't want to do. Just say them out loud. Ready, go.
Open houses.
Keep going, keep going.
Expired listings,
Oh my gosh, you guys are nailing it. Okay. You guys
price
are,
corrections.
I like the fact that you guys aren't saying TikTok videos. Sorry if I said a sneer, if I had a sneer in my voice. Sorry if you heard that. Okay. So what else? What other things you guys don't want to do? Come on, come on. Lead follow up. How about that one?
Price and higher dollar ones.
How about price reductions for sellers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if you guys were to write all these things down, what do all those things have in common?
We're uncomfortable.
Okay, there you go. They require skill. They require you being uncomfortable. They're also the things that are going to lead directly to a paycheck. So the very things that you don't want to do the most are the things that are going to get you paid the fastest, the quickest. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that terrible? But it's true. The things that get you paid the most are the things you want to do the least. And that's true with every aspect of life. It's sad, isn't it? I wish it wasn't like that. Maybe AI is going to make all of our lives easier so it can start doing the price reduction calls and do the annoying lead follow-up, and they'll start calling those darn old expireds and for sale by owners. What do you think? I don't think so either. So really the point of it is that if you look at the reality, if you're feeling pessimistic about anything, any aspect of your future, whether it's you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too smart, you're too dumb, doesn't matter, whatever it is, you're doing that intentionally because you're getting a benefit from it. And here's the problem with admitting, the challenge with actually admitting, like I'll choose one, and I hope you guys give me a little bit of room on this, okay? So hopefully this doesn't hit home with anybody in a way that I offend anybody, but I'm going to say it just because it makes the point, okay? You guys tell me the benefit someone gets from being an alcoholic. Benefit from being an alcoholic. Don't be offended, please. It's a weird question, right?
Yeah, maybe some escapism.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Don't expect anything of you. You get away with bad behavior.
Okay, see how it just flows into your mind? And so there are lots, so that means that maybe being an alcoholic is a choice because they like the benefits that they get from doing that behavior, even though the rest of us might look on it as something that doesn't make any sense. Does this make sense? Am I resonating with you guys? So you're in a world where everyone's feeling a little bit, and look, I'm from Ohio, and I get what being in the winter feels like. I get what clouds that look like they're so low you can touch them feels like. I totally understand. And it's hard to feel optimistic because really, you have nature working against you sometimes, the lack of sunlight. I totally understand all of these things. But the thing is, when the whole market is feeling like this, you got to understand that's the opportunity for you to attack the market, because your competition is still waiting for the clouds to clear, waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder and waiting for someone to tell them it's time to actually go after the market and, essentially be aggressive. It's time to wake up for the spring market. It's time to actually do what you don't, all those things. But if you guys take actions now, when other people aren't, you're going to have benefits that other people they can't even possibly imagine. So I'm going to take a little break here and have some tea. You guys ask me some questions.
A question that's, I know there's probably no easy answer, or there is a very easy answer. If there's one action that you'd start to focus on in, call it this downturning market, if there was one thing that you would do before anything else, what would it be?
Great question, Chandler. I always like coaching you, by the way. You were never dumb and never boring, and you always took action. It's true.
Appreciate it.
How many years ago was that, by the way? I don't even remember.
It was before COVID.
You just got married.
What's that, sir?
You had just gotten married before you had kids.
Yeah, it must have been, gosh, I got the boys in 2000. I don't even remember, probably like 2015.
Married about 10 years.
Yeah.
We're getting old, bro.
What's that?
We're getting old.
I know, I almost tried to find the old picture of you and Julie. It's a classic picture.
Well, there's a picture of us when Remax flew us out to Colorado. I put the video up on Instagram, and we were being interviewed by Howard Brenton at Star Power. This is a long time ago, and you should see that video. It is freaking hilarious. We look like we're middle schoolers. All right, so to answer your question specifically, and this actually is perfect that he said that because it's literally my next set of notes. So if we can all agree that, if you're feeling optimistic, despite the fact that everyone's feeling pessimistic, if you're going to actually, do the opposite of what most other people are doing, then what types of things, how can you shorten your path to start feeling more optimistic? And I'm going to give you the number one thing. This is the number one thing, in our opinion, that screws up people's ability to sustain any level of optimism. Ready? The media, any form of media, any sort of, you have to limit your inputs. You literally have to have myopia, which is tunnel vision, and absolutely cut people off and cut things off that are going to poison and that are going to piss in your well and cause you not to feel optimistic. And there's been zillions, you guys all know this. This isn't, some black hat marketing, but virtually everything out there is designed to make you feel pessimistic and fearful, because being fearful causes you to want to listen to more negative news. So Jules and I were at an event, a live event in front of a big group of agents, and there was this lady sitting in the front, and I started talking about being media free, which is what I'm talking about. So you guys should have media free mornings and then move to having media free lives. Okay, so I started telling the story to this lady, and she had the New York Times on her lap. I mean, okay. And I told her New York Times, I didn't say anything about her, wasn't even focusing on her, but I started talking about the media free thing because I know it's true. And she got mad at me. She just started snaring at me, shaking her head. And then she eventually, at break, she didn't come back. And her issue was that, and someone else mentioned this to me, was that they were fearful that if all of a sudden they weren't tuned into their source of media anymore, they were in some way, I was asking them to reject their tribe. So their tribe was fear. Their tribe was hate the politicians. Their tribe was, all these things. And if you think about how often do you guys listen to something, read something, watch something that makes you feel uplifted and optimistic? Who can you guys give us an example of anything you've listened to or consumed in the last 24 hours that after you've listened to it or consumed it, you felt optimistic and excited? Name one thing.
Like one of the 10 of my Instagram algorithm is like a little nugget of like, here's a dad helping a kid, but it's like 1 out of 10, maybe.
That's good.
Maybe 1 out of 20.
Yeah.
Well, but does anyone else, as part of your daily routine, who listens to something that makes them, who intentionally listens to something or watches something, consumes something, reads something that makes them feel uplifted as part of your daily routine?
I listen to country music when I'm getting ready for work.
That's mostly uplifting. I agree. That's good.
But no,
What-
yeah, it's not always uplifting.
I mean, after you get past the stealing of the pickup truck and the dog, it's all good, right? So what else? Is anybody? So if you think about what you guys are consuming every day, it's no wonder why you might and you don't even know it. It's happening subconsciously. You've allowed other people into your life. You've allowed in the form of media that's been normalized, and it doesn't matter what form it's coming from, to make you feel pessimistic. And we've already determined that when you're feeling pessimistic, if you don't believe that tomorrow is going to be better than your today, you stop doing the actions today that would have otherwise made tomorrow better than today. And you're reinforcing that. This is what you've all admitted so far. You're reinforcing it because you're getting a benefit from being a pessimist. So because you don't have to do what you don't want to do, and you don't want to do it at the highest level. Do you see what we've accomplished in 18 minutes? So you guys, and everyone does this, by the way, this is the reason I knew that everyone would be shaking their heads positive, because everyone does this, is that right now there is a mass psychosis of addiction, to use a word, to pessimism and to feeling like the pessimistic thing is just because people are feeling like they're part of a tribe. People are feeling like they're part of a community. The others, all of you guys are old enough to remember, I think, all of you guys should be old enough to remember that this isn't the way it's always been. There is something, if you guys want to hear a tinfoil hat thing, there is definitely reasons to believe that foreign powers, it sounds tinfoil hat, but I want you to think about it, not too long though, because then you'll think I'm crazy, but they're foreign powers that are trying to intentionally cause Canadians and Americans to basically bite each other's throats and believe that we're different, because unified, we're unstoppable. But if we all of a sudden, if there's all these constant, like, who's funding the protests in Minneapolis? Where's that money coming from? Anybody have any ideas? Well, it's believed that it's sovereigns, it's foreign nations that are causing all this unrest in the United States, and none of the protests or any other things are actually being self-organized. They're all being organized by external forces, and they're discovering that what I just said is true. So you have to remember that if you're feeling pessimistic, that's not your natural nature. That's not the way you were created. You're created to feel optimistic. You're created to be a goal achiever. You're created to want to improve yourself in a lot in life and become a better version of yourself. And all these external forces are actually giving you permission to not improve, not change. And then what happens? Time passes. Most of you guys are still pretty young, I'm guessing. I'm looking a lot of, I think, maybe 30-year-old faces, something in that, plus or minus. Okay. So, minus,
Thanks, Tim.
well, but the point, you're welcome. But the point of it is it hasn't always been this way. And there's something that's happening, and it's not coming from us individually. In my opinion, it's coming from something that's organized, that's wanting us to all feel pessimistic so that we essentially don't continue to achieve and we don't continue to improve. So please write this down or just remember it. Your highest and truest purpose on this planet, when you're going to feel the happiest, is when you're being of service to other people. Who has kids in this room? Okay. So being a parent is an enormous pain in the butt. Would everyone agree? I have a 12-year-old daughter. An enormous pain in the butt, never-ending levels of work, right? But the thing is it also gives you the highest levels of satisfaction. It also has the biggest payoff over time. But it's something that really you have to oftentimes force yourself to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. Back to the previous point, most of everything in life is just like that. You're going to have to do what you don't want to do, and you don't want to do it at the highest level. And I'm going to ask you guys a question. Who believes that you have to be passionate? I'm interested what Yoga Girl is going to say when I ask this question. Who believes that you have to be passionate to be great at something? You have to have passion for something to be great at it.
It helps.
Who?
It helps.
It helps.
Okay, so all right, here's the problem with passion. It's a fleeting emotion. All right, so please write this down. You don't need to be passionate to be great at what you're doing. And matter of fact, and I've seen this for a million times with coaching. People will start out, Chandler's seen it too. I mean, he knew some of my past coaching clients. They'll start out guns a-blazing. You'll meet them at a live event. They're the most passionate people you've ever met in your life. And then guess what? They discover that selling real estate is probably 10%, 5% fun. And the rest of the time, it's kind of a drag. You're doing what you don't want to do and you don't want to do at the highest level kind of stuff. If you want to be successful long-term, and then they lose their passion. And they say, well, I guess real estate wasn't for me. I'm going to pop off to something else. I'm going to go do something else. Whereas what they don't realize is that the point you become really, really good at something, selling real estate in this example, is so you can fuel your passions. If you happen, like in my entire career selling real estate and coaching agents, I honestly can think of nobody that's been passionate about selling real estate long-term. They've been passionate for the results that they get as a result of selling real estate long-term, taking care of their families, taking care of themselves, buying rental properties, paying off debt, going on great vacations, having quality life. But ultimately, the thing that fuels all of them is feeling like they're being of service to other people. That's the reason I brought up the kid thing, because when we're all designed to help other people, the kid thing is the most visceral example of that. But when you've helped somebody, have you ever noticed that makes you feel like bizarrely, almost, dare I say, spiritual, just by having helped somebody? Because you're in alignment with your highest and truest purpose. And so if you stay connected to these thoughts, you're going to find that real estate's a lot easier than you actually think. So I'm going to make clear about something. What the enemy isn't. The enemy isn't the interest rates. The enemy isn't overpriced sellers. The enemy isn't the weather. The enemy isn't your competition. The enemy is allowing pessimism and allowing other people to influence your potentiality. I'm going to take a half step back. And now that we've all gotten to know each other somewhat, let's be honest. Who here, and this is always a hard question to answer honestly, and I appreciate that. Who here thinks, be honest, rich people are evil?
I sure don't.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so who here has come across the notion that rich people are evil? I made it easier for you guys to answer. Okay, good. So why does society think rich people are evil?
Jealousy.
That's the dominant reason. What else? I agree 100%.
We're kind of told they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you guys heard that in order to be rich, that rich person had to take something away from somebody who was poor, thus making more poor people poor?
Money
What do
is
you
the root of all evil. Like there's so many phrases. Yeah.
Well, by the way, that's a misquote from the Bible. If you've ever actually read the whole scripture, But yes, that's the thing. That's the thing that we are all raised, like I was raised Presbyterian, which are basically very cheap Scotch people. Scotch people. That's what Presby's are. Yeah. So you guys know the Lord's Prayer? You mind if I get Christian here on you? Who knows the Lord's Prayer out loud? Say it out loud.
Like our Father?
The Our Father prayer?
Yeah.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, or forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Okay. So the way I was taught it, when you got to trespasses and trespasses against us, I was taught debtors, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, the kingdom come, thy will be done on earth and in heaven. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Did you guys know that there's different forms of it? So the only reason I'm pointing this out is because we were all raised at the youngest age to have a little bit of give side eye to people that were rich or that sought money. And it's interesting how that manifests as we get older, because what happens is if you have, and I did for the longest period of my life, and some of you might too, especially if you actually think about what I'm trying to help you with. If you have a tinge of that still circulating in your system, there's no wonder why you aren't doing the things necessary for you to be rich. Remember, rich is just where your money works for you. You no longer work for your money, where you have enough money coming in passively every month that you have all your bills paid, right? But if you believe that somehow is going to be seen in your group, in your community as being evil, or somehow rich is bad, that's going to pull against your wanting to do the things necessary to become financially free. Does that resonate with you guys?
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking? Give me some feedback. This wasn't in my notes either, by the way.
I definitely had that thing where I was a super liberal hipster, and when I went in 180, I felt some sort of way about it. I did feel like I was turning my back on people that I grew up with and whatnot. But that's
Me too.
Forget them.
No, but yes, but it wasn't that easy. Especially Chandler, you're a really nice person. So, I mean, for someone like me who's not a really nice person, that was easy. But not for somebody like you. You're actually a sweet guy, at least unless you've changed.
They probably would disagree with you, but
Well, I mean, but the truth is that's exactly right. I've been with people before in my own family who, when Julie and I, the equivalent to what we earned our first year in real estate when we were in our early 20s is the equivalent of $1.2 million. Right? That's if you adjust for inflation. And we had direct family members that just rejected us because we broke the mold. We certainly weren't supposed to earn that much money. We were supposed to be, Julia was supposed to be a school teacher. I was supposed to be a dog catcher. I've got no idea how they envisioned us. And then all of a sudden we broke the mold. And that made them feel uncomfortable. Have you guys ever thought about this? Why some people react the way they do about money? It's because you're making them feel uncomfortable about their choices. And when you start becoming the highest and best version of yourself, then here's what happens initially, what Chandler experienced, when I experienced. And if you guys, have the courage to experience this as well, I'm going to give you the flip side to this, which is good. But initially, a lot of your friends and your family, they're going to reject you. And they're not going to reject you and just like, I'm not talking to Chandler anymore. They're going to start saying little nice, helpful things like, you know what, you got to stop and smell the roses. And they're going to say stuff like that, because you're making them feel uncomfortable about the decisions they're making about their lives. Just resonate with you guys? But here's what happens over time. And sometimes it's a long time. You're going to be the example for them. You're going to be the lighthouse in the fog for them. You're going to be the person, you guys heard the crabs in a bucket story?
Yeah.
Chandler, tell the crabs in a bucket story.
Well, I don't know the upside of it, but essentially that all the crabs are trying to get over the bucket, and as one gets up a little higher, another one tries to climb up their back and ultimately pulls them both down. Right.
Essentially, that's it. And I've actually seen this before at Bainbridge Island when we were out visiting a friend in Washington State. But you actually will see one of the crabs grabs hold, a little hook over, and then the other crabs pull it right back in. And so that's essentially how that's how everyone wants us to be. That's how society wants us to be. Not in my notes, but I'm going to throw this out at you guys since you're all paying attention. Who wants you to be rich? Who wants you to be financially free?
My wife.
For sure. No, for sure. Who else? Come on, guys, participate or I'll start picking on you.
They're
Who wants you to be rich? Honestly, who wants you to be financial?
myself be rich.
Okay, well, that's a good start, right? But who else? But who else
Maybe
in
like
your
our
life?
parents as we're growing up. I don't know. It's,
Depends on how they grow, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm saying now, right? We all have, look, I don't think nobody who came from money gets into real estate. I got news for you. Everybody that gets into real estate is a scrapper. All y'all are scrappers, just like me. Because if you came from money and you got a highfalutin education and a big inheritance or a trust fund, you are not getting a real estate license, okay? Because selling real estate is oftentimes real work. So I'm asking you this question again, considering we all probably came from similar financial backgrounds. Who right now in your life, it can be a person, it can be your church, it can be your synagogue, your mosque, it can be the government, your community, it does not matter. Who wants you to be rich?
I maybe have like a couple close friends and we reciprocate that energy, but that is about it.
I believe you. I believe you. Who else? Come on, guys.
I know.
Family.
Family, are you sure? Marcus, are you sure?
Immediate family.
Are you sure? Well, are you married?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll agree with you on that one. Beyond that, I mean, you guys are hitting it right. Nobody wants you to be rich. Why? What happens if you're rich? What happens if you have enough money coming in passively that you no longer have to work for money? What happens to your life? Let me ask some questions. If you guys, remember we were talking before, I think a couple of you weren't in the room. We were talking about joking mostly, talking about Greenland and how there was a rumor going around that Trump administration was supposedly going to offer, by the way, I heard $1 million, not 500 grand. It's going to offer all 60,000 people $1 million each. And I was thinking, because I heard this a couple weeks ago, it's not going to happen. But the first thing those Greenlanders would do, I mean, granted, a few of them wouldn't, but they all get the hell out of Greenland, right? Because they could leave and they're moving to Puerto Rico. They're going to be my neighbors. But here's a question for you. Would you live where you live? If you were rich, you no longer have to worry about money. That no longer is an omnipresent thing in your life, right? I want you to think about what I'm saying here. Really internalize it. You no longer worry about money. You no longer look at prices. You no longer give a rat's ass what airfare costs. You don't care what clothes cost. You don't care about your bills. When you want something, you just buy it. You don't really think about it. You might think about it out of habit, but you know at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because you're rich. Where your money's working for you, you no longer have to work for your money. Would you live where you live? In the same house?
Oh,
No. No.
Oh,
I got a cottage on the ocean.
oh,
but
that
not
sounds
too
really
far.
nice. That sounds awesome. I love that. What's a cottage? Well, now you got me wondering what a cottage in the ocean in Nova Scotia is like. That's got to be gorgeous in the winter.
Beautiful. That's
I
where
bet.
I go as often as possible.
Okay,
I
so
live at home like a cottage.
who would stay living in Nova Scotia?
I probably would.
I have a home here, but I would not live here in the winter.
I would live in nowhere. I would just,
We have multiple homes.
Why?
Yeah, like
Okay, right there. That's right there is the best answer if you ask me. It's basically live in different places so you can experience different seasons in different parts of the world. I mean, that's really the best way to live, right? So here's next question. Ready? This one's going to make some people mad, but that's okay. All right. Would your politics be the same if you were rich? You didn't have to work for your money was working for you. Would you vote for the same people? Think about it.
yeah.
I don't really know what's going on. I turn my ear media free. I'm very media free when it comes to it's bad. I should know
terrible.
what's going on, but I don't.
Okay, well, most people, when they actually, so in America, I imagine Canadians are the same way. Most people, 99% or like 98% of all millionaires basically earned their own money, despite what the masses think that people inherited it. That's just not true. Most people, when they become millionaires, are in their 50s. Most people become millionaires by equity in real estate. And here's what's fascinating. The second most people become independently wealthy, where they no longer have to work for money and the money's working for them, they absolutely change virtually all aspects of their lives. They live in usually multiple homes, usually 2 or 3 homes. Sometimes if they're more frugal, then they won't. But the point of it is they give themselves options. They definitely change who they vote for. You can see this in the last election in the United States. It's definitely starting to happen. The point of it is that a lot of us basically are stuck in these little hamster wheels and these little cages because we're part of that tribe. And we're afraid that if we all of a sudden start having different thoughts and start having different lifestyles and start living in different homes, that the people that are our friends are going to reject us. And a lot of this stuff is what holds you back. And that's what pessimism feeds on. Pessimism loves that. Pessimism wants you to think you're going to lose all the people you care about the most, but you're not. You're going to be the lighthouse in the fog. You're going to be the highest version of yourself on this planet, because you're going to be of service to other people, not just your real estate clients, but the other people that you become an example for them to follow. Does that resonate with you guys?
Yeah.
Your highest and truest my highest and truest purpose on this planet professionally is being of service to real estate agents. And that's what Julie and I focus on. Your highest and truest purpose on this planet professionally, I'm not saying personally or spiritually, but professionally, is to be of service to your real estate clients. And your real estate clients, the way you are going to be the highest and truest, be of service to them, is be able to solve their problems and solve their problems in the most efficient way that results in the best results for your client. And it's not, if you think about all the things that agents spend their time on, it's not that. They're spending time on marketing and branding and the rest of it and things like that. Are you guys at all obsessed with marketing and branding? Is that a thing in this room? Be honest.
Seems to be a big topic of conversation always, so we trying to figure it out and crack some code.
Chandler, are you working out? Dude, you look jacked.
I go up and down, so we have
He's bouncing.
He's
Yeah.
jacked.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're making me feel insecure. Can you go back to the side view? All right. So I want you guys, you mind if we take a little sidestep here and talk about marketing and branding? So I can save you guys the pain and the anguish and the waste of money. You already know my opinion. I don't care, but I'm going to prove it to you. So why do you do marketing and branding? Come on, millennials. I think I see at least maybe 4 of you. Okay. Why do you do marketing and branding, millennials? Come on, let's go. Why?
Be competitive in the
Be
industry.
competitive? Okay. I appreciate that. What else? Promote yourself.
Business, yourself.
Okay. What else?
Right now, my thing we're hearing is visibility beats ability. So, maybe like the
Yeah, I love the I don't know part's the honest part. And what's the output? What's the point of all the things you guys just said, which is what the people selling us marketing and branding want us to believe. So you tell me what the goal is of being more visible, of having more
clients.
Get more
clients. More business.
More business, more
Okay.
clients.
So does everyone agree?
What's the idea?
Everyone agree? Trina, everyone
Good.
agree? So the point of the marketing and branding is to generate business, to generate leads.
Yep.
You guys know I'm setting you up here, right? So generate a buyer lead, a seller lead, but just the sake of conversation, let's talk about seller leads, okay? And I know you're in Canada. When I'm going to say, you guys are going to think I don't know about Canada, but I have bazillion coaching clients in Canada, so I do. If you guys you tell me all the sources right now of free seller leads in your marketplace right now that cost you nothing, that you do not have to do any marketing and branding or TikTok videos in order to basically get access to those free seller leads. Give me some examples. Let's go.
Past clients.
Okay. What else?
Spirit influence.
You same thing, right? So what else?
Expired listings.
Okay, keep going. Somebody's taking notes back in the corner. I appreciate that. Okay,
Financial advisor.
okay, that's okay. So you guys are going on the right path. So if you were to, we can make a list right now of 20 free seller lead sources that cost you literally absolutely nothing to generate, and that there's no referral fees. What are you guys paying for referrals with Zillow in Canada?
We don't really have the Zillow-based ones that you can buy here.
Okay, good. Oh, that's right. You guys had some sort of lawsuit or law about it like 3 or 4 years ago that made it so that Zillow couldn't misrepresent who the listing agent was. You guys did it right. America screwed that up.
We've got a bunch of like messed up non-compete or non-monopolistic stuff.
Yeah, but you guys did it right. The United States should have done the same thing. In the United States, you guys ready for this? Agents are paying a 45% referral fee for buyer leads from Zillow. Think about that. Okay, so let's say they're on an 80-20 split. Okay, and let's say they're on a team, and the team leader takes his vig, the referral fee, the broker fee. Agents are working for nothing on those bought buyer leads. So let's just focus on listings because the leverage is always in real estate, can always be on the seller side of things. If you want leads, if you want to become a listing agent, do you guys understand the importance of being a listing agent? Primarily focus on that. I know some of you guys work with buyers, but just stay with me here. Do you understand why seller leads, why listings are so much more powerful than buyers? Give me one example why. The biggest reason why.
Hours spent is less with the seller than buyer typically.
Okay. Yes, should be. You're right. Expensive time, especially. What else?
So listings generate buyers, so when they generate more business.
Leverage is what, Mr. Muscular back there is saying. What else? Okay. I want you guys to give me an example of a buyer that has to buy a house. You guys should write this down. I'm dropping some bombs here and you guys are just kind of dazing.
Buyer that has to buy a house.
Hey, Chandler, good luck.
Relocation.
Buy a house? Nope, they can rent. Let's go. Good guess though. Let's go. A buyer that has to buy a house. That Canadians are smart.
Your studio client.
Nobody has.
Oh, winner, chicken dinner. We got it. There's no such thing as a buyer that has. There isn't. There's no reason a buyer ever has to buy a house because they can stay renting. They can stay living in their mom's basement. You guys have basements in Nova Scotia?
Yeah, lots of them.
Isn't that weird? Do you know most of the United States, they don't have basements?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had basements where we came up too. Anyway, so there's no such thing as a buyer that has to buy. And there never has been, never will be. That's the reason when you're focused on buyers, the buyers are always going to change their minds. Interest rates went down. Interest rates went up. They're seeing freaking alien ships off the coast again. I don't know. Whatever, right? Buyers look for excuses. They're always looking for excuses. Be skeptical. And remember, they're poisoned by the same skepticism and pessimism as you are, which is going to dissuade them from wanting to buy a house. Because after all, why would they want to buy a house? Because tomorrow is not going to be better than today. Now, you guys with me on this one? God bless buyers, right? I'm not saying buyers aren't great. We need buyers. Now, I want you to give me some examples of a seller that has to sell. Trina, the first thing you said actually for the buyer ones was the good one. There you go. Okay, what else? Well, give me an example of a seller that has to sell.
Market silent.
Separation.
Okay.
They
Right.
need more space.
Well, no, the need more. That's not a want to or a have to. That's a want, but it's a strong one. I'll agree with you there.
Yeah.
Relocation, financial issue. Basically, if you think about who the best leads always are, they're going to be sellers that don't have a choice but to sell the house. I don't know, but I bet you in your guys' market right now, Marcus totally gets it. He just had an epiphany. I know what it looks like. Okay. He's showing no emotion. Look at him. He doesn't want you guys to know. He's going to start calling expireds. Be careful with that in Canada. Do it right. But how many expireds were there in Nova Scotia in the last 12 months? Who knows? You guys don't even know. It's terrible.
I just told our area since November under 800, and there's probably 50 that were either expired, canceled, or withdrawn just in our in the Maine area.
Yeah, but search all of Nova Scotia, main area being 20 minutes away max?
Yeah.
Okay, search all of your entire MLS. How many would you think you'd have in the last 12 months if you had to guess?
Expired?
It's thousands. It's thousands.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's thousands. I was doing one of these the other day for somebody in Virginia, and they always start out by saying, we don't have a lot of expireds. They always start out by saying that. And then I said, okay, let's go have a look-see. And they looked in their MLS, and there were so many, their MLS wouldn't show them results past 4,900 because there were so many. There were literally over 10,000 expireds. And this was the same conversation. They wanted to do marketing and branding and all of it, to which I said, well, why do you want to do it? Well, it's because we were told to do it. Because we believe some fairy tale that you're supposed to be doing all this marketing and branding. You have to build your brand, all the rest of it. Well, to what end? Why are you doing it? Well, we want to generate leads. Oh, okay. So you want to generate leads. Unlike every other industry on the face of the earth, you guys already have a list that's available 24/7 for free of people that have already self-identified as to being viable home sellers. Think of another industry that's like that. Think of one. I can't. Hospitals, maybe, if you're an emergency room doctor, they're all your clients, right? mean, that'd be about it. Other than that, every other sales job, every other profession, you have to go create a product. You have to then find the clients that want to buy the product. You have to convince the clients to want to buy your product versus your competitor's product. And then you have to make the sale, right? In real estate, you guys already have a product that everybody wants. You already know what the list of clients are that you can then, get the listing from. And if you put it in the MLS, it's priced right, conditions decent, locations decent, prices even decent, it's going to sell, right? You guys ever thought about this?
Well, when I did, this is one of the things we focused on when I had that finite window. It was the first time that I ever called expired listings. And it's not fun, but it works. And even we just did this recently. And the thing that really sits with you when you do this exercise is you pull all the expired listings. And then the way our system is set up, you have to then go in and see if they're still expired. And about 40 to 50% of them have been relisted and sold. So
within 6 months, Chandler, you're right. Within 6 months, 90% of all expireds. Now I'm going to tell you guys a little secret to add on to what he just said. Your biggest competitor calling an expired listing is the previous listing agent. And they're also the easiest to compete because they've already proven their inability to sell the house. But the seller doesn't know another agent. And guess who who's your biggest competitor? Who am I talking with that's been on a listing appointment before that was competitive? Like not just a layup easy listing from like centers of influence, but a competitive one. You guys have never been on a competitive listing?
Yeah.
Okay. So in most cases, the agent that you're competing against that's going to give you the hardest time of it, isn't the best, most competent agent that sold the most houses. It's the one that's in that that seller and that agent know each other, right? Their kids are in the brownies together. They're centers of influence and past client type agents. When Jules and I sold real estate, I wasn't worried about ever the agents that were actually really good. In our market, there were 3 or 4 of them. I didn't worry about competing against them. I worried about competing against the lady who talks with the mom who happens to be the seller every day while they're doing school pickup. Those were my competitors because the sellers are going to be more inclined to list with their centers of influence and past clients. You guys understanding? So when it comes to expireds, their go-to agent already failed. So if you call them and now you're bringing the heat because you've got the track record, you've got a pre-listing pack, you've pre-qualified them, you're a professional, you're associated, frankly, with Mr. Halliburton. By the way, best name in real estate ever. Am I wrong? Sounds fake, doesn't it? Chandler Halliburton. I used to tell you that all the time. But seriously, everyone's going to remember that name. You guys are all building your brand. All these, your brand comes. Charlie Munger, you guys know who he is?
No.
You guys know who Warren Buffett is?
Yeah.
Okay, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger were partners. Charlie passed away recently. I'm not going to get the quote exactly right, but I've never forgotten this. Never forgotten the context of it. He said, don't try to make yourself famous, make the results of your work famous, which is the antithesis, the opposite of what people are being taught nowadays. You have to be famous. You have to be the brand. You make your work famous. You make the sold sign. You make the sellers passing your name along famous. If you guys get obsessed, okay, one other question. Ready? If you have the choice, what is everyone's age? No, I'm not going to ask that. Okay. If you have a choice between everyone has to answer this question, be honest. If you have the choice between being famous and being rich, be honest, and you can only have one, which would you choose? Starting from the left side.
Rich.
I know Chandler's answer. You can't say anything. Next.
Rich.
Okay.
First.
Okay. All right. Okay. Trina.
Oh, definitely rich. I
Okay.
don't care. I don't care.
All right. So here's the hard question. Do we all agree that the list of things that you guys don't want to do the most are the things that are going to make you money the fastest? Oh, man. Tim's looping this, isn't he? See, I was tricking you into doing what you don't want to do and you don't want to do at the highest level. And do we agree those are the things that are going to put the most money in your pocket the fastest?
Yeah.
All right. So I do believe you guys because there's the ultimate goal. I don't want to jump on my next point, but if you do have a choice between being rich and free, and I'll strongly suggest to all of you, you stay in tune with your desire to be rich and free. Rich is freedom, where your money works for you, you no longer have to work for your money. But I want you to notice how many people try to convince you to be famous. Every freaking buddy. You guys know how, if you have 2 million views on YouTube, does anybody know how much money you make?
Oh, maybe $40.
It's $5,000. So 2 million views, 2 million views. And how many people get 2 million views on anything? How many people that are in my space are trying to teach you guys to become real estate famous on the socials? Have you guys ever heard of any of the things I'm saying to? Have any of you guys ever heard these things before?
Yeah, Remax have just rolled out this.
You have.
Yeah, you can be an official Remax influencer. If
What?
There's this new thing that you can be in the Remax influencer designation, where if your social media is good enough, you can be designated a Remax influencer by at the national brand level.
They're just trying to manipulate people's egos, because everyone, especially when you're younger, has an innate desire to be accepted. Everybody wants to have that outside recognition. Recognition is one of the most powerful drivers, especially when you're younger, and one of the easiest ways to manipulate people, especially when you're younger, and especially as you get older. What happened? Remember what I just said. You guys are all being manipulated because your innate desire for recognition. That's what the socials are playing into. As you get older, you're going to look over your shoulder and you're going to wish, when you heard Tim ask you, would you rather be rich or free? You're going to wish you would have chosen actually to be rich, opposed to just saying the words. And you're going to wish you would have actually chosen to do what you didn't want to do, and you didn't want to do at the highest level. And screw the naysayers, screw the pessimists. Forget all the people that are trying to hold you down. Forget all the societal things that are trying to keep you guys locked into a world where you basically are controllable. If you're never rich, if you're always dependent, and I'm the government or I'm the whatever, I can manipulate you. I can control your behavior. I can cause you to think what I want you to think. But if all of a sudden you're financially free, everything changes. What are you guys thinking? Trina gets it. I can tell. Trina, why does this resonate with you? Why does this resonate with you? Why do you know what I'm saying is true? Because I can tell you do.
Well, I've had a lot of life experiences and learned lessons. So I get what you're saying. We're about the same age, and I'm sure our experiences have overlapped at some point in our life.
Yep.
It's
I'm
also
sure.
interesting. Famous people do seem to be the most manipulatable.
You guys watched the Golden Globes the other day? Did you watch
Yeah.
that garbage? Oh my gosh, what a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Only rich people, you can't tell them what to think. It is kind of interesting.
But so I just want you to remember that. That's you, everything, you got to just appreciate what I'm saying. You don't even have to believe me 100%. But everything around you does not want you to be financially independent. Everything wants you to be dependent. The system is dependent on you guys being dependent. It's not, everything changes if society all of a sudden has a bunch of people that no longer easily manipulated out of fear because, oh my gosh, follow this rule or follow that rule. Don't you guys feel, I don't know how to give this gift to you other than just to give you an example from my own life. So Julie and I used to live in Southern California, lived there for 8 years in Laguna Beach. Beautiful place, unbelievably gorgeous. But there was this omnipresent weight that we just wore it like a coat all the time. And we just got used to it. And so did everybody else. Density of people, so many rules. California had rules that would literally they would pay neighbors to rat out each other, not community laws, but state laws, different little, someone's plate registration, our cars were registered in Nevada. And so we were in California and our neighbor would rat us out because we have Nevada plates. And then because they thought they were going to get paid by the state of California, all these things. And then when we moved to Austin, Texas, we moved north of Austin, Texas, and you're not around that anymore. The way people act towards each other is completely different because the density of people, the mindset of essentially being liberated from so much oversight, it changes your life. But the way you can shortcut all of that without having to move to Austin, Texas, because it's super hot in the summer, is definitely focus on your finances. Now I have a next question for you. What is the product of your business? What is it that you're actually here to produce? What is the actual goal of being a successful real estate agent? What is your product? Let me make it easier. I have a coffee cup full of tea right here. If I'm in the coffee cup business, My product is nice coffee cups, right? You guys are in the real estate business. What's your product?
Good service.
That's part of it for sure. What else? What else? What's your product? It's an interesting question, isn't it?
The experience of selling a home,
That's a product?
I guess.
No, you're
That's
close.
our question.
No, you guys are all circling the runway. Okay. Here's your product. The litmus test of how efficient you are as a business person, and all of you guys are business people, is the only answer is profit. Right? The amount of profit that a business person makes is the greatest, test of how many people they've helped, how efficient they were at running their business. Your product is profit. And with that profit, you then take that money and you reinvest it in things that make you passive income. S&P 500, rental real estate. You guys should talk to Chandler about this. He's got his act together about ways to invest. I talked to him the other day. So the moral of what I'm trying to explain to you guys is the product of your business is profit. And that's something else the industry doesn't want you to focus on. The industry wants you to focus on what? How many houses you sold, your dollar volume. Imagine what the industry parties would be like if all of a sudden we gave awards to the agents who had the most net profit. Imagine how different it would be. I mean, seriously, it wouldn't be the peacock agents. It wouldn't be the branding agents. It wouldn't be the agents buying their leads. It wouldn't be even the agents with the biggest teams. It would be the ones that just kept their heads down, focused on what their highest, truest purpose on this planet is to be, which is service to other people, got really good at their skills, and were willing to do what they didn't want to do, and they didn't want to do it at the highest level. They actually made a list of all the things that they knew they didn't want to do the most, had the epiphany that those are the things that are going to put me in a position to help the most people at the highest level and make me the most net profit. And then they said, screw it, I'm going to do it because I want to be free. What are you guys thinking?
I'm remembering a little nugget that you gave me one time where I was obsessed about being the best real estate agent and whatever I thought that meant, best experience, most knowledgeable about the industry. But ultimately, the best agent was the one who did the deal. Right? He or she who sells a property was the best agent in that transaction. And so I would be, creating all these narratives why I didn't get a listing and how dumb were they to go with another agent. And I can't believe someone would work with that agent. Or I would have a listing back in the day for 120 days, it wouldn't sell. And then some bozo came at me who was an idiot and they got it sold. Well, in that scenario, they won, right? The best listing agent is the agent who has the listing when it sells. And, and you have to be skilled, you have to be good, but ultimately our outcome is deals and then profit. But it doesn't matter if you're the best branded or even.
Wait, don't bounce off that. Don't bounce off what you were just saying. It was really freaking good. The reason you lose is because you weren't good enough. And owning that is really painful because you want to write, the seller just listed with them because they know them from whatever. Or the seller listed with the other agent because the other agent cut their commission. Or the seller listed with the other agent because they told them a higher price or whatever. No, the seller listed with the other agent because the seller thought the other agent was better than you. Get better. Don't accept losing. Losing sucks, especially in the listing side. It takes so much work just to get in front of the seller in the first place. You got to win every single time. Our industry says, you went on 10 listings, you took 5. That's pretty good. What? That's handling, right? But that's what the industry teaches agents. You have to have the mindset, I'm going to take every single damn listing. And if you're not, I know that's not possible, but let's just say it is. If you're not, it's you. You're the problem. You're not pre-qualifying. You're not, sending a pre-listing pack that means a hill of beans to the seller. You're not, your presentation, you're not good enough to earn that seller's business.
And often in a lot of cases, my issue was I thought they wanted me to be the nicest, smartest person, but what was going to get that house sold was going to be a price reduction. And I didn't push for the price reduction. The next agent who may have been a moron came in and said, well, you're overpriced by $15,000, and they got the property sold. So I may have thought I was better in 19 out of 20 ways, but not in the one way that actually mattered.
Right. But it all happens with the pre-qualification too. And now we can get into some coaching, but it's already been an hour, but we could talk about that. Essentially what you guys will discover if you really think about this, selling real estate is like super easy. Going out, getting listings is super easy. It's basically a 7-step process. And I know everybody wants to makes you guys believe it's this sort of crazy ass funnels thing. One lead funnel leads to another, leads to another, all these follow-up campaigns, all this garbage. If you think like that, you're making it overly complicated intentionally. So you have an excuse why you're actually, to actually get in front, it's avoidance. Oh, I have to get my system together. I have to fix my CRM. I have to work on my drip campaigns. What you have to do is you have to pick up the phone or go to a door, communicate directly with one of the lists there's like 20 different sources of seller leads primarily that have to sell their homes. And you have to directly, I won't say solicit, I won't say prospect, but I'll say proactively lead generate to those people. And that's going to make you the most money the quickest. It's a skills-based thing. It's a mindset thing. It's a willingness to lose and be rejected thing. But nothing is a better teacher than losing, because winning doesn't really teach you anything. Going on centers of influence and past client listing appointment after listing appointment doesn't teach you anything, because you're going to get it anyway. When you're actually competitively, and until you get to the point where you want to go on a competitive listing appointment because you can win, you're going to stay in this nice little, box you've made for yourself your entire life. And as time passes, I got news for you. Nothing just magically changes. Pessimism compounds, because what happens is if you're pessimistic today and you're not doing the things today to make your tomorrow better, the same thing happens tomorrow, the same thing happens tomorrow, and then 10 years passes or 20 years passes. And then you're saying, I wish I would have done things differently. Who can relate to what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So you guys have to stop waiting to feel passion. You have to stop waiting for someone to motivate you. You have to stop waiting for the right book to read. You have to stop waiting. What you have to do instead is take action, because the action, I'm sorry, yoga girl, I don't remember your name.
Christina.
Sorry, Christina. Sorry, forgive me. Okay. All right. And as she and I were talking at the top, you don't feel like, I don't feel like doing what we don't want to do, and we don't want to do at the highest level. But when you get into action, then all of a sudden, magically, your physiology and your mindset changes. All the things you guys wrote down that you don't want to do the most, that you now know are and admitted that are going to get you paid the most, the quickest, none of those things we ever want to do. I never wanted to proactively lead generate, prospect, right? Neither did, and nobody does. It's egregious work, but it puts you in a position of helping people, and it puts you in a position of making the most money the quickest, and gives you an opportunity to be financially free faster than anything else in real estate. Certainly not building a brand, certainly not building a team. It's being a listing agent. That has always been true and always will be true. ¿Qué piensas? ¿Hablas español? No? All right. So what are you guys thinking? Any questions?
I kind of put it down as like a reminder of the guiding lights, helping people and money. Those are the two guiding lights of what I want.
What I would wish for all of you guys more than anything, maybe I never see you guys again. God bless all of you. And I mean that sincerely. But what I wish for all of you guys is to give yourself permission to be financially free. So, I mean, I grew up poor. I did. And, when Julie and I got married, we were only 20 and 21. We've been married for 35 years this year. And our only goal, now we didn't stay true to this for all of our real estate career, but our primary goal was to be financially independent through rental properties. And our goal was to basically retire by the time we were 40. And we did. We were living in Laguna Beach. I already told you guys. I was 41 and she was 40, right? It takes that long. Rental properties are expensive. That was the easiest way up the mountain we could think of. We kept our overhead low. We built our businesses. Our investments were working. We finally got to the point where we were rich by our definition. And then we decided we wanted more out of life. And then we decided to get back on, start climbing the mountain again. And sure enough, what happens is once you've got some financial independence, once you've got some money, it's so much easier to make more money because that past money is working for you and it compounds. And then you go like the first $1 million is really the hardest for sure. Really the first 100,000 or 500,000. But once you accept the fact that being free, like, can you guys think of anything, a better gift you can give to yourselves your future self, especially in your family, a better gift you can give to yourself than never having to worry about money or think about money again. I mean, living forever, maybe, always being healthy, that's pretty good. But as far as things we can actually control, can you think of a better gift to give to yourself? I mean, I don't want to be spiritual, so I won't bring up spiritual stuff, but just from the, tangible agnostic things, can you think of anything, a better gift to give to yourself? Would you guys have answered the same way when we'd started an hour ago? If I'd asked you that question? Did I move the needle at all?
Yeah, this is all great.
For sure.
But that's what I'd wish for all of you, to be financially free, to be free to actually allow yourself to take off the heavy, burdensome coat that all of us wear, and then finally get it off your body and realize what an amazing gift life truly is. And we're all very blessed. And as far as real estate goes right now, we're all in the right place at the right time. There's going to be a surge of home sales. It's going to start in the United States. You guys are going to experience it as well. And I didn't talk about it, but it's all because of demographics. The amount of people in the United States and Canada that, like, first-time home buyers in the United States, the average age is 40. 10 years ago, it was 28. Lack of inventory and screwy interest rates has caused a problem in the real estate markets down here. You guys have been experiencing similar things. All of that is going to get corrected because the sheer demand for housing is going to outpace bad policy. And that's what's already happening. So you are in the right place at the right time, the right career. I'll suggest to you, look into the future and decide today that you want to be rich. And rich is merely where your money works to you, no longer work for your money. That's it. Yes. Christine, you're about to say something?
Oh, no.
Okay. Any questions?
Can I just say, I've done like training for 15 years and it was very refreshing how direct work. Like, I feel like there's so much fluff in real estate and you're kind of being pulled in like 1,000 directions. So by the time you get off a call, you're like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do? But I feel like that was very like direct and clear and just kind of, it was nice to like kind of look at the big picture and step back, because we don't do that very often, I don't think.
Thank you. That was a really nice compliment. That's really sweet. I'll tell you, since you said that, I'll tell you, I don't have to do this anymore. Julie and I are way beyond having to work anymore. I do this because I want to. I do. And what's funny is I'm starting to feel passion for it. Whereas for the longest time, it was more work for the sake of making profit so that I can become rich and free. And now that I'm on the other side of that, we have been for a little while in a significant way, it does change the context. Now, what I'm trying to do is get past all of your egos and your resistance to knowing that you can all be financially free. Because being financially free is the best gift you can give to yourself. It just truly is. It's not about buying Rolexes and Hermes purses and freaking all that crap. It's fun. That stuff's great. Don't get me wrong. It's wonderful. All that stuff's wonderful. But I've got news for you. After you've bought your first Ferrari, I bought my first Ferrari when I was 30. And none of the other Ferraris I bought since have been anywhere near as much fun as the one I bought when I was 30. And that's the thing about things, is we attach ourselves a lot to them, but the benefit you get from them is it's nowhere near the level of personal and almost spiritual satisfaction you'll get from knowing that you have actually earned the right to be free. Just like Chandler was talking before, earned the right to be that listing agent. And what I'm trying to do is help you guys realize that everything in our lives, the media, frankly, a lot of stuff in the real estate industry, and you gave me permission to be direct, so I'm going to be direct. None of them want you guys to be rich and free. They want you to be dependent. And I'm going to say this too, and I was with RE/MAX forever. RE/MAX doesn't want you guys to be rich and free. RE/MAX wants you, God bless RE/MAX. I was a RE/MAX agent. Don't get me wrong. Please don't think I'm trying to be insulting. I'm just being honest. The brokerage model is dependent on you guys never being rich and free. It's dependent on you selling volume and focusing on units. That's the brokerage model. Because if you're rich and free, all of a sudden, guess what? You might not choose to sell real estate anymore. Yeah, right? Obvious. So any other questions? Chandler, what are you thinking? Have I changed it all? I don't think I have.
No, I honestly, I have no horse in this race. I'm not trying to sell Tim or his product. I generally think Tim is the best. This is why we clicked, and Tim made a huge difference for me at that point in my career, which kind of sent me where I was. And cheap one. He does have a couple books, Harris Rules for real estate. Like what?
Well, Harris Rules. The other one we didn't have republished, but Harris Rules is a bestseller. It's for sale everywhere, Barnes and Noble, airports. But our book, Harris Rules. But really, just subscribe to the newsletter because that's the way we can still communicate with each other. HarrisRealEstateDaily.com. And if I can use my secret powers, Chandler's going to be talking to you guys about EXP Realty soon. Oh, I said it.
This sort of stopped the Remax and recording and just kind of almost then turned
No,
off.
I honestly, I loved Remax. Remax was wonderful to Julie and I. They really were. But, the reality of it is once you move past this is before EXP. And I'll tell you straight up, all real estate brokerages are basically the same. It's just the one that you leave the most money on the table with is the best one. And the reason that Julie and I went with EXP, and we don't sell real estate, right? But the reason we went with EXP in 2018 was because the revenue share model. That's it. So nobody has a revenue share model like EXP. So you can go to EXP Realty and you can, I don't even want to talk. If you guys want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. But the essence of it is the only real way, especially in the United States and Canada where taxes are so high, the real way is you have to have a rich uncle. Okay. You have to invest in the S&P 500 long enough that you're going to get the benefits of compounding, win the lottery, I suppose, or revenue share. And I've known normal people who have been able to be rich by our definition with EXP revenue share in less than 24 or 36 months, just from recruiting agents. And they're not even active recruiters. They might only recruit 2 or 3 or 5 agents. And then one of those agents recruits 5 and one of those agents recruits 10. Then all of a sudden they're making enough money passively from revenue share. I'll tell you the problem at EXP, and no one talks about this. The problem at EXP is there's so many people that are earning so much money that used to sell real estate at EXP. They're not selling real estate anymore. Nobody talks about that, but I just told you guys some inside ball. That's the real problem. There's people at EXP Realty that are earning, I know someone earns $600,000 a month.
Jeez. Yeah. I know our colleague Neil does some crazy IT you would know as well, but we'll table that for another day. But.
Right, we can table it for another day, but I'm just saying straight up from a business perspective, when you just look at the numbers, it's whatever is going to help you build the most wealth the quickest, and you just remove emotions and you just focus on what your goal is to be rich and free, then you're out of options. And that's where we were in 2019. And frankly, from a coaching perspective, Julie and I would just do everything we possibly could to help agents learn the skills and whatnot, but they were never building wealth fast enough. They were building wealth through S&P 500 and buying rentals. And then we actually saw what was possible with revenue share. I mean, Julie asked me, so do you believe in EXP? And I said, well, yeah, it's a superior model. And she said, well, why don't you want to tell agents about it? And I said, well, it's because I'm afraid we'll lose coaching clients like Chandler's at Remax. And if I start talking to him about EXP because he's on the team red, white, and blue, he's not going to want to listen to me and he'll fire me as a coach. That was my fear. And then she called me a hypocrite. Okay. She said, well, you're being a hypocrite. You always have said that we're highest and truest purpose is being of service to the agents that we choose to align with us. And she was right. And that's really the bottom line. So that's the reason I'm telling you, do or don't. Be interested in it or not.
I think it's also like all the other stuff too, where it's like if you take emotion out of it, you take ego out of it.
100%.
What would be obvious answer. And again, we've got to wrap it up here. But all of this, like in doing all this, I'm remembering that I just 2 days ago started this commitment to do 1 social media post a day for the month of February. And now I'm kind of laughing at myself because.
No, do it, bro. The social media, so there's passive lead generation and I talk to proactive lead generation.
Yeah.
So if you want to do the passive, just understand that it's not going to really get you anything meaningful. But if you want to you have to do the proactive, but the passive will reinforce the proactive. But if you only can choose one, choose the proactive. Call them
Yeah,
expires.
that's the thing. I did those posts and I didn't call any expires, right?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and are you calling your centers of influence and past clients?
No, I'm just making reels right now.
Oh, there you go.
Never mind. But all right, thanks so much for getting
Thank
really
you.
nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice meeting all of you guys.
Yeah, I think I'll follow up with it. I'll figure